Hey guys, welcome to the Bird's Nest. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about with those Colorado Buffaloes. But before we get started, please guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Especially like and subscribe. And comment too. I love your comments. So, let's get into it. I'm going to do some stats first so I can get on my way. I can't be fumbling with paper while I'm driving. Let's talk about some stats. Caden Salter, 11 of 16 completion on passes. All those short. They were all short. He had one touchdown pass. It was short. He had one interception. He had a total of 119 passing yards. Rushing, he did a lot better, I guess. He rushed 17 times for 49 yards. Draylon Miller, who is playing a running back / wide receiver. They have him listed as a wide receiver. But he seemed... Well, he was effective. Yeah, he was most effective as a running back yesterday. He had 8 carries for 52 yards rushing. And for receiving, he had 2 receptions for 27 yards. So, again, they used him more as a running back, and he is him. My tweet last night was he think he's Saquon Barkley out here. Then I look up his position, and he's a wide receiver, not a running back. Okay? So, the run game, I mean, you know, with Caden, you have a good run game. So, Caden got rushing yards, Draylon got rushing yards, but M. Welch, I think his name is Micah Welch, he had 11 carries for 67 yards rushing. Jay Williams had 5 receptions for 56 yards. Omarion Miller, he always has like 1 reception, but for a lot of yards. He got 1 reception for 19 yards. Again, already said Draylon Miller got 2 reception for 27. Jay Williams, I think, did I look him up? What's his name? Joseph? Whatever his name was. 5 receptions, 56 yards. Defense, you know, they spread things around with the defense. Their defense is not great. T. Bayard did have 7 tackles, and T. Parks had 5 tackles. Stoutmeyer had 4 tackles. Jay Brown 3 tackles, and several other guys had 2 tackles. A couple of guys, 3 guys with one tackle. All right, stats. So, I would say that the run game is much improved for Colorado. They had no run game while Shador was there. So that's much improved. I guess they wanted to improve in that area because, as I say every week, everybody wants a run game. Run. And so we don't get a lot of excitement because nobody's passing those long passes. Caden didn't do a long pass all night last night. They started out strong. They scored 14 points early. In the first quarter, they scored 14 points. As a matter of fact, by the time the game came on, because the game before that ran over, before the game came on, Colorado already had 7 points. And then right away, they scored another touchdown. And then they became totally ineffective. Their defense is just Deion sends offensive players to the league. No defense. And it was mentioned, I saw it on Shannon Sharp, but even before that, I saw it on Twitter. They said, somebody called, and people often call Coach Prime a recruiter instead of a coach. And somebody pointed out that Deion doesn't even do house visits like every other coach to recruit players. Well, Deion is not every other coach. Every other coach can go to a player's house with some level of anonymity. Deion cannot do that. It would just be a spectacle every time he tries to go to someone's house. So I can understand him not going. But maybe he needs to, if you can't go to their house, can you meet them somewhere for dinner? Even that's going to be, I don't know how he could do it. It would be good if he could do that just to recruit defensive players, O-line players. There are players that he needs that he's not getting. In the 3 years that I've been following them, this is my third season, no defense. Defense is leaves much to be desired. Those guys, BYU wasn't even playing great last night. They just totally had an opportunity to win. But I don't want to make the sound too loud. But they couldn't. I don't know what happened after that first quarter. They just totally fell apart. So BYU was able to catch up to them and then pass them. And then in the final, seconds of the game, they had an opportunity to score, and sadly, Caden threw an interception. So I don't know. He also took a negative 25-yard sack, looking like Shador out there. It made me wonder, does Coach Prime and this coaching staff rely heavily on players figuring things out on the field, being totally situational? The plays are not very exciting, not very dynamic. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and the other team figures it out, like, it seems like they're waiting for the players to address that matter on the field instead of the coaches addressing it. And Shador is built for that. Although then you get these sacks because you're trying to make a play. And I think that's what I'm thinking. You're trying to make a play so bad that you're holding on to the ball. All you're thinking about is making a play, and you can't think about anything else. So you can't think about the fact that they are coming down on you, and you need to throw the ball out of bounds ASAP. Apparently you can't think about that, because seeing him do that, it just made me think of Shador. And I think it could be something to do with Coach Prime saying, make a play, man. Trust yourself. And Caden trusted himself initially, and it was working out for him, but he couldn't maintain it. After the game, he said that, and I don't know, I don't have the proper context. This is the only part I saw, and I know how the media will shake and bake some things. But the quote that I saw, he said that being benched got into his mind a little bit and kind of threw him off his game. And I don't know what he meant by that, because he's been playing better since he came back from being benched. So I don't know what that meant. I need to see the whole context. I may watch the presser when I get home just to get context on that. I used to watch all Shador's pressers, but until Omarion starts balling out, I don't have any interest in watching the pressers. I don't want to hear about why they lost. Get it together. But speaking of Omarion, he had the one reception for 19 yards. Was it last week or the week before? He had the most yards with one reception. They're not targeting him enough. They're not targeting, Caden is not targeting the wide receivers enough. Omarion was wide open when he took that 25-yard sack. Omarion was wide open. And I saw him throw one to Omarion that was short, and he couldn't catch it. So Caden, to me, I know running quarterbacks hate to hear this, But Caden seems to me like he's more of a running back than a quarterback. If you can't throw at all, Jalen Hurts doesn't throw a lot, but he throws sometime. Caden can't seem to do it. If you can't throw at all, it seems like you need to be a running back and not a quarterback. Same thing with Justin Fields. They keep trying to make him be something as a quarterback, and I just feel like that's not his strength. Throwing is not his strength, and quarterbacks need to be able to throw that ball down the field. So, this whole situation is making people look at Coach Prime sideways as a coach. I'm not ready to judge him based on that, because since I've been watching, I watched Arch a couple of weeks. I'm not going to keep watching Arch because it's just not worthwhile. I was only watching him because they said he was going to go first in the draft, and it's not turning out to be that's the case, so there's no reason for me to watch him. But when I was watching them play against teams that didn't have good players, I don't know if y'all know. I know probably if you're looking at this, you probably do know that these colleges play, they pay smaller schools millions, like $1 million, couple $1 million to play them. I guess so that they have somebody to play. Like, I'd have to research it more, but I don't care about college football enough to find out how many top schools are there, and how often do they play one another. Do they only play each other in the playoffs? Because I could have sworn Colorado only has like 2 or 3 games out of all these games against ranked teams. I will have to see, but it makes a difference if you're playing teams that don't have players. And so Colorado has better players than a lot of teams, but they don't have better players than good teams. Well, BYU did not look good to me last night. They could have won that game. Shedeur would have won that game. You couldn't, if they had been like that with Shedeur. But the thing about college ball, you get practically a new squad every year. You got the transfer portal. You got the guys going to the league. They're only going to be there, anywhere from 1 to 6 years. 6 being a very long time. Most of them are not there that long. Then sometimes they'll do 5. But mostly they do 4 or 3. So you don't get to have your team. You have to rebuild every year. And it looks like Coach Prime somebody did a fantastic job rebuilding when it comes to the run game. But that's it. And still, no defense. There was no defense before. And now, the wide receivers is what won them games last year with Shedeur, of course. Despite what's going on with Shedeur, he was elite. He is elite. And so, that was reflected in Colorado's record last year. So he's hard to replace. I think if I had my way, they wouldn't have bought Caden in. I don't know why they bought Caden in. If I had my way, they wouldn't have bought him in. They had already recruited Juju. They could have let the one who Ryan, I believe his first name is, could remain as the backup. And Juju could have been QB1, and you let him get acclimated to college football, and you might have had something later in the season and definitely next year. You got Juju for like 3 years. They're still looking at other quarterbacks. Don't chase Juju away. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Coach Prime. I know Shedeur maybe did cover up some things, and it is Shedeur. It's not even, people say Travis and Shedeur. It wasn't just Travis. Travis was a vital part of the offense, but so was LeJontay Wester, and Jimmy Horn Jr. and Omarion. Omarion got injured. Jimmy got injured. But as I always say about Colorado back then, they had so many wide receivers. They kept coming. Now you got a quarterback that doesn't utilize them. I don't know who they have. They got some wide receivers. But Caden can't bring the best out of them, apparently. So the run game isn't doing it for him. It's not doing it. I don't see it doing a lot for a lot of people. Everybody wants to be Saquon Barkley. Look, y'all don't have Saquon Barkley talent. He's special. Everybody's not going to be like that. Your quarterback needs to be able to throw that ding-dang ball. I don't get it. But one problem that Coach Prime definitely has, they left that game again with 2 timeouts remaining. He struggles with time management in games. And I don't know if he doesn't know, because people can say whatever they want on social media, but these guys are not always looking at social media. Social media is very toxic, and it makes you not want to look at it. And who wants to be advised by fans on social media? Somebody needs to be telling Coach Prime, why aren't you using your timeouts? You kind of rushed Caden out there on that last play, and he threw an interception when you could have taken a timeout, give him a beat, and not be so rushed. But Coach Prime, misses vital timeouts. So he's got some things to work on there. They need to work on some schemes and some plays, so that the quarterback doesn't have to freestyle all the time. Because guess what? Look. Well, you sent Shador Shador is elite. Like, I just know when Shador gets out there on the field, because of what his path has been, he's going to be awesome. But it looks like, and I'm not sure, but it's starting to look like if you play under Coach Prime, maybe he can make you look great in college, or he can inspire you to be great in college, but then you got to unlearn some of the things that he taught you in order to play in the league. And that, trying to think of a play, figure it out, he's beating it in your head, figure it out. And that's all you're thinking about, is figuring it out, and you're paralyzed and you can't throw the ball out your hand. You can't even think that I need to get this ball out of my hand. I done ran back to the parking lot, past the end zone. I need to get rid of this ball. Seeing him do that last night was very concerning to me, and did make me think of Coach Prime, or is it Pat Schumer? I don't know, but I hope we do better next week. Hopefully they can figure it out, and we can do better next week. I can't remember who we play next week, but this was an important one last night, and they didn't pull it off. And I don't think the answer is to get rid of Caden either. You can't play musical chairs with the quarterbacks. You got to let somebody get in and be the quarterback. You made it Caden. Let him play. Let him play out the season. Hopefully he figures it out, and if he doesn't, you're going to suck. And that's just the way it's going to be. If you can't fix him and get him to be able to pass the ball, then you're just going to have to deal with it, because you brought him in. And then next year, I say go with Juju. I wish you had done it this year. Go with Juju next year and let him get acclimated. You have him for a few years. You really wasted a year. Caden, I know he was supposed to be him. I don't know how he was at his previous school. I know he was known for the rushing, but can he throw? Could he ever throw? Why is he unable to throw right now? Why can't he pass the ball? I don't know. So I would love for Coach Prime to have an opportunity to redeem himself. I was listening to Shannon Sharp and Ocho, and Shannon, I don't know if Ocho agreed. Shannon seems to think that Coach Prime needs to leave Colorado and go to a bigger school where he can actually work with more talented players because, as you know, now Colorado hasn't been good for a long time. And when Shedeur was there, they could attract some talent because they had NIL money flowing. And Shedeur gave his back to the team. He made so much money in endorsements. And Travis, I think, did also, if not all of it, a lot of it. They gave it back to the team, so they had money to share with the players. They don't have anybody like that now. No one. Not a one. So they can't get the good players in Colorado. They don't have the NIL money for it. And they think he should go to another school. I don't want Coach Prime going to another school. I want him to prove himself in Colorado. And he loves Colorado. I want him to prove that he can put a team together without his elite son and elite college wide receiver play or talent. You know, can you do it with a great quarterback and some good wide receivers like Shedeur can do? So we'll see how it goes next week. You know, it's getting deeper into the season. That was game 5. They are 2-3 now. That was game 5. Actually, so are they halfway through the season? Don't they have like 10 games? Wait a minute. Well, no, they got more than 10. They got more than 10 because they were 9-4 last year. So 13 games. They're 5 games in. You know, more than a third of the way. So hopefully we'll see them make some improvement over the next couple of games. I hope this doesn't, and even if it does, if it breaks Caden's confidence, he's not him. If that's capable of happening, he's not him. So good luck to my Buffs, man. I'm going to ride no matter what, and I hope Coach Prime does too. If Coach Prime ever leaves Colorado, I would like for it to be to the league, but he needs to prove himself that he can function without Shedeur first. And I'm sure that teams think that too. So, in the meantime, Go Buffs! Y'all have a good one, and please like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and I will be checking in during the games today. Probably going live maybe at halftime, just so I can get my recaps in. Y'all have a good one. Thanks, guys. Mwah.